Hey guys, we're back with the Attachment Point News Roundtable. I got Nancy Germond, the insurance writer on Twitter, who's just been super gracious, always bringing cool, alternative perspectives. It's not just sales and insurance sales and service and insurance. There's risk management, there's writing, there's speaking, there's teaching. Nancy, thanks for sharing. A couple different ways you can add value to our little ecosystem.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course, of course. So you're out of Arizona, and then I think you teach over there too.
Right, I teach. Actually, I was teaching insurance courses until they all went online. We had a 2-year community college program, but it's all online now. So I'm actually teaching sociology,
Oh wow,
which is what my master's degree is in. So
that's pretty
yeah.
cool. How'd you find yourself teaching insurance classes at a community college? That's pretty fun. Happy
Well,
accident.
yeah, I helped to develop the program. I got called out of the industry. I had just left a job and was working on my consulting firm, and I got a phone call. A couple people had recommended me to come in and develop this 2-year certificate and community college. You could either get a certificate in risk management and insurance or a 2-year degree.
Hmm.
And we put quite a few students through. They almost all found jobs almost immediately. In fact, many of them were hired right out of my classes and
That's
sucked
awesome.
away. so so it was just wonderful. But ultimately, the decision was made to just fund the online portion
Hmm.
of it. And my students were predominantly, many were first generation immigrants,
Hmm.
and very many spoke Spanish as either a first language or were bilingual. And I just really enjoyed the face to face. They were amazing students.
Yeah.
And so I just made the determination then to move over to sociology.
No, I was a liberal arts major, comparative religions at a state school, Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to talk myself into a QuickBooks class online right now, but I've been lagging a little bit. It's just different, a classroom, that discourse, especially something with, like insurance that's so it's not cookie cutter, it's a little more gray.
One thing my students tell me when they go to take their licensing exam or they go to take the AINS, any portion of the AINS, is I passed it because I remember the stories that you told.
I could see that.
Yeah, and I brought in a lot of guest speakers. I just phenomenal people in the industry from many carriers, agents, some loss prevention people, so they could see all sides of the industry because there's so much more to it than just sales. And I think that's
Hmm.
why we're not attracting people. I don't want to be in sales. I don't want to do call center. And I think we don't expose them to some of the things. So I started out at the carriers. I started at Commercial Union and
Hmm.
then went over to Fireman's Fund in downtown San Francisco and had a great career as an adjuster. But ultimately, I went as an adjuster to the public sector,
Hmm.
to the Association of Bay Area Governments, where we insured small municipalities.
Oh
And
wow.
from there, my almost most of my career, at least about half of it, I spent in the public sector. So people really don't think about jobs in government. And there's great benefits, there's great retirement system. You're allowed to be a little more, what would I say, a little more
I'll say more of a
off the
person.
cuff.
I was gonna say less of a suit, less of a
Exactly.
organized presentation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because say you're not trying to win business every day, you're just. Trying to take care of what you're supposed to take care of.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I've
public
yeah.
sector employees are incredibly intelligent and
Oh
hardworking
yeah.
and dedicated. It's a great area for people to think about if they haven't thought about governmental risk management.
Some of the smartest people I know got those jobs. They're not going anywhere. But he's a lawyer. He's got a JD and he's worked for the Department of Energy. And
Hmm.
SF. I
Hmm.
think that's a great point. I've thought about the insurance, like that school districts and everything have to buy insurance. I'm like, man, how do we sell
Exactly.
into these things? I know there's RFPs.
Hmm.
In my
And most of them
yeah.
are self-insured, and
Oh
so
wow. Okay.
there's insurance pools that do just governmental risk, and so they're always hiring loss prevention
That
and
makes sense. I didn't think about that.
underwriting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because they got the pockets, so really, they'll just have the reserves and then,
Right.
try to guard it like any other big organization. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, my in my past life, I sold office moves and I got into insurance as a way to see where the deals might be. I thought
Uh-huh.
if I can insure the building or the space, but I didn't realize how insurance worked. You just add a new building to your, you just change your
The
address.
schedule. Yeah.
But it was an excuse to get licensed. I
Mhm.
definitely think it's a happy accident industry.
Exactly. And licensing, it's just, as you know, it's just the start, right? Just
Hmm. Oh, it's such a funny industry in that like you want to put your toe in and you're like, oh, these guys have been around forever. These guys seem slow. They're not paying attention. I'm gonna go. You don't realize how solidified the relationships are. You don't realize I'll say the wisdom and the long term kind of plans that are out there.
right.
Are you aware of a lot of other community colleges that do insurance? I hadn't heard of that before. That's pretty cool.
No, Real Salato here in Phoenix is doing it all online and across the nation. There's a couple other programs. I think they're trying to put one together in the Cal State system in
Okay.
Southern California because they did reach out to me. I don't know if it was Fullerton. I can't
They have
recall.
an insurance program, like an insurance and risk management bachelor's, but it wasn't on my radar. What was interesting is my friend was a finance major, and he said they even came into the finance classes like, "Please, this is a great industry. We'll have scholarships for you, please." And he's like, "Man, I wish I would have done it." He got into insurance later, but he's like,
Right.
"Yeah,
Well, one of the things too, when I would go out and talk to business classes to try to get people in, I would tell the gals as I talked to them,
hmm
because there's a lot of women in accounting these days, young women, that are so much more financially literate than
mm,
I was brought up. Like, you're really good in English, so don't worry about the math skills, which was did me a big disservice
right,
because
fair,
later in life, I remember I had to take statistics, college level statistics without algebra. So, oh boy.
yeah,
So, but these gals, I would say, listen, you're going to compete head to head in risk management and insurance against men, and very often you'll win the job because your communication skills are going to be
hmm
so solid. And they perked up and took notice. So, it's a great career field, especially right now for women and for
yeah."
people of color, because we need more diversity.
I didn't even think about that, that it's such an even playing field. And for me, I take it for granted. One of the last people I interviewed was Kate Terry, who built Surround Insurance and is so bright, and I do think it's a unique field in that maybe granularly on the sales side, you expect more sales guys, but I feel like the women are more invited to be on the sales side of it too. And, actuaries, underwriters, that is interesting. I didn't think about how, well represented women are in the industry, how you don't even give a second thought, and then, yeah, minority people chasing really good opportunities. That's cool. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I've had great male brokers and I've had great female
Oh,
brokers. And
yeah.
when I worked in self insurance, you just want to know that number one, that they know what they're talking
Hmm.
about and can guide you, because risk managers have to be a little bit broad in generalization. They can't be too highly specialized in one area
Okay.
because you're putting out fires all day. It could be an HR issue.
Yep.
In policing right now, of course, police liability is the biggest issue on entities'
Yep.
plates. It could be weather related. Uh, just some of the funniest stories come out of demonstrations. And one of my risk manager friends told this story about a woman who was making a point about something. I can't even remember what the point was, but she put her feet in two buckets of cement. And as the cement hardened, of course, the circulation stopped in her feet. So he had to get the firefighters
Oh,
there,
jeez.
stat an ambulance, because it was, she was about to lose her feet.
Yeah.
So you just never know in risk management what's coming. So you have to be a bit of a generalist.
It's funny you say that, not never the biggest student. I think I was always kind of messing around the neighborhood, playing sports or whatever. Um, but yeah, liberal arts major, worked in a restaurant, sold office, moved, worked in construction, saw the inside of hundreds of different businesses and households while doing moving sales. So you get this
Mhm.
really broad experience. But yeah, I could see if you've just done coursework and if you specialized, or if you knew one sliver. I walk in a restaurant, I could tell how organized they are by what type of shoes the servers are wearing,
Mhm.
little things like that, or
Right.
trucks, from being
Right.
around the trucking industry, how their licenses are taped to their vehicle or if they're permanent. I could
Mhm.
tell if it's a subcontractor or, a higher, it's just
Right.
interesting, those little things you collect through life experience, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say I'm wide, but I'm not necessarily always deep.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that. Yeah. That's
And
a,
I don't mind.
yeah.
I mean, It probably knocks me out of some jobs, but I'm not really looking for one. So
Yeah, I kind of joke. I'm smart enough to be friends with really smart people, then communicate what they have to say to everybody else. If I can figure it out for myself, then usually I can tell the general public what's going on.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this book I'm writing, that's what I'm
Oh
trying to
yeah.
do is make things really intelligible. And I've got a great editor who reminds me, if I use a word that that they're going to need a
Intelligible.
dictionary for. Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, there you go. I'm trying to dumb it down a little bit because and we all do that in insurance. We start using, RTW, return to work, or we start to use acronyms that our
Yeah.
clients just don't understand.
Yeah, I do
So,
joke as a broker, your job is to translate insurance to the general population and then the general population to insurance.
yes,
You're kind of sitting in the middle. So
yep,
yeah, let's mention the book. I'm as an agent, I feel good on products liability, general liability, BOPs. I've even sold some benefits. I've sold some life insurance. Workers' comp is one where I understand how to get it out there. I understand claims. I understand closing the claims. I get the generalities of it, but
right.
it's a little gray to me. I'm excited. So workers' comp in 2 hours you got
Uh,
coming up?
and it's geared to the smaller to mid-sized businesses that really can't afford to go to a brokerage necessarily that offers loss prevention and maybe some claims
Mhm,
oversight and assistance. But just the basic things like, what do I do? I'm being audited. Well, you're audited every year. Don't panic. And here's what you look for, and make sure you break your overtime out from your regular
mhm.
payroll. And bonuses, yes, they're going to be part of your premium. You can't get around paying premium on bonuses. Otherwise, that's how we pay our employees, right?
Yeah. And honestly, I've been licensed for a number of years, had one full-time role for about a year and a half. I'm learning. I'm learning every day, and insurance is kind of scary. It's like the more you know you don't know.
Exactly.
I think a book like this is phenomenal, even for newer agents, because you want to impart that wisdom to your client, And before we hit record, I mentioned Nancy, I have a business partner. We have a small brokerage, next to no overhead. We're happy to help whoever cut on teeth on whatever, but a lot of your quality insurance folks are going to want a minimum of, maybe $2,500 of revenue. You're talking a decent sized client, 20,000, 30,000 premiums, something.
Right.
Um, so that's really cool. You wrote this book for the junior guys, but I'd also say, yeah, for the younger brokers too, you know, I think it'd be a
Right.
great tool to get that wisdom to share. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. And we're hungry. It's funny. There's a book called The Wedge, which is like the legendary insurance sales book. That book sells for like $70. It's nuts. Yeah, I would
Uh-huh.
definitely keep the younger agents in mind too. We'll have to do another one of these when the book comes out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think this one's very expensive. It's Insurance
Yeah.
Journal Academy uh, is going to be publishing it through
That's
their
cool.
publishing arm.
I'll
Yeah.
make a note. And pricing's a weird thing. I've always heard it's like it's not an exact science. Sometimes you go lower, get it out to more people. It depends on the motivation too. You
Right.
know, I'll have to bug you later. My wife is in grad school, so I've been trying to keep myself busy while she's doing her thing. So I have been
Right.
noodling on some notes, maybe to throw in like a sales book later. You know,
Uh-huh.
so we'll probably have a little insurance angle, but yeah,
Well, it's funny. The way I ended up writing this book is I had a bunch of columns that I had
mm,
written, or even blog posts. So that's what you can do is
that's
just start
cool.
blogging. And then eventually, what happened is I went and took a creative writing class at the community college from
Hmm.
just a fantastic teacher. And then during that semester, because I tend to procrastinate, I I started to put the book together, and then I wrote the intro, and everything else kind of wrote had
Cool.
already, been there. Then I had to update everything.
You're making me feel
So,
like I need to get on top of my community college QuickBooks class I'm lagging on right now. Got
well, like you said, online it's not as much, I think in the fall we may be back to normal. We're
yeah.
still online at our community college.
It's hard. It's hard to hold yourself as accountable. It's easy to let the stuff drift by. If you show up and you have to look at somebody in the face and be like, I didn't get it done,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
little shame in there.
Right, right. And you get to know your students a little bit
Uh-huh.
and know which ones might need a little extra. And it always shocks me at the end of the semester how fond I've grown of them.
That's cool.
And a lot of my students still call and say, "I just got a raise, I just got promoted." My insurance students,
That's awesome.
they're awesome. They're doing great. I've got several that are now leading claims teams,
Oh
and
wow.
one's ahead of a bilingual area. in a call center. So they're doing well.
No, really good jobs. And then, so this is going to post on Insurance Nerds. They have a couple thousand people on their mailing list, 1,000 people following their YouTube. Just a really passionate group about the insurance industry and really the industry side. I'm kind of one of a handful of brokers who hangs out there, and I feel like it's a sneaky hack on our part to get to know the people who are actually behind the scenes building everything. Makes more sense out of what we do.
But
Yeah.
isn't it surprising how willing people are to spend time and mentor you in this industry?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've had just incredible mentorship.
I think across the board, the only one, and I can't blame them, is sometimes the older people, and usually dudes so far, but on top of agencies or the good sales guys, it's
Hmm.
almost like they don't want to teach you the secret sauce, or they don't want to like show you how the cash register works. I feel
Right.
like everybody else is totally cool, but I feel like the guys who have it going for them aren't quick to being like, "Hey, here's the keys to the kingdom." You kind of
Yeah.
have to go hack those yourself. You know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
another thing is a lot of them are very scattered. And so
Yep.
they have amazing CSRs that
Yep.
support them that actually do the renewals and,
Yep.
make sure that all the ducks are in a row. And so it may be that they're so scattered that they just don't book you.
Well,
You know what I
that
mean?
no, totally, and that, and then I've also realized sometimes people don't know how they got to success necessarily. You can look at it, be like, oh, that market grew, or this thing changed, or that opportunity popped up, and you're in the right place. But to them, they were just living, and just
Right.
taking advantage of opportunities, handling what's in front of them. And it's funny to say it as a younger, I'm 35 now, 36. It's not their job to tell me the thing either. Like, it's my job to pay attention to them, pay attention to the market, pay
Right.
attention to the changes, and I have to figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think ultimately we all have to kind of figure it out for ourselves, but there's so much information out there now. I think we're
Hmm.
all too on information overload. I don't even know, from day to day, I try and set aside about an hour at least to
Hmm.
read, just read,
Yep.
or two
That's smart.
hours. And because there's so much changing every day.
No,
I
you
mean,
are right though. And our industry is cool. Like, I can talk to people who are way up the ladder at insurance companies, people in charge of innovation, even just on Twitter. Some of the people we get to connect with, there's a ton of mind share there. You know.
there really is.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I've had great mentorship throughout the years and still try and stay in touch with those people, even though most of them are long since retired.
Yeah, no, I've had friends, like one of them's Nick Lamparelli, another one's Stephen Goldstein, who will pop up on Twitter, but people who encourage me to be independent, go out on my own, build, because luckily
Hmm.
right now I'm like a partner in an agency, I'm helping a startup, and then we accidentally started building our own like CRM kind of AMS, and now
Oh,
we have a
wow.
couple outside users. Yeah, so it's a ton
Uh-huh.
of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but to your point, even in insurance nerds in their Slack group, people are down for meetings to give us feedback. And they're not asking for equity, they're not asking for money for their time. They're just checking out our project and excited to see some change in the industry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a friend who works for AIG. She's a pre-loss person who works with big, big accounts. She
Hmm.
flies all over the US, or did before the virus, and helps these employers mitigate workers' compensation losses. And we've been friends for years.
Hmm.
But she's reading my book for free and giving me input. And of course, I'll, send her a gift certificate or
Yeah.
something. But that kind of thing, I mean, even because I know her, it'll take her a lot longer than 2 hours to go through it, because if she says she's going to do it, she's going to do it
Hmm.
thoroughly. So you just can't get that kind of mentorship and free advice, except it just seems like this industry is very, very giving.
I think there's like a collective mindset because it's kind of like a community cell and a community making whole. And to your point, I didn't even think about it till right now. There's a lot of startups who will hop on and check out their tools, check out their broker-driven platform, make introductions, just
Hmm.
because I think they're good people trying to do the right thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, I guess yeah, kind of goes around, comes around a little bit, and we're all building together. Yeah.
Yeah. And really, ethics, your own personal brand is built of your ethics.
Hmm.
And that's sort of the bottom line in this industry. We, like, if you're an underwriter and an agent lies to you one time, it tends to brand that entire agency. Oh, they're no good, right?
Yeah.
But it's really that person, right? It's not the whole agency. It's just that that person told you an untruth.
Well, we're
So,
it's like we're a community of farmers, you know, and like the agents can kind of miss it sometimes because I think you're more like hunters, but
Yes,
really it's a get rich slow industry and get rich
right.
niche, you know.
There's a
Yeah.
great book about ADHD called Hunters in a Farmer's World.
Okay.
And it's fascinating because it says that the people who have ADHD or ADD were genetically the ones who went out and risked,
Mm.
and so it's just in the gene pool. But they were also probably more likely to be eaten by the saber-toothed tiger than the farmers who stayed back. You know,
There's a
so
risk reward. Yeah.
yes. So I'm a little bit ADD, so I
I've heard
love
that
the
too.
book.
I think we're further enough from the podcast where I can mention this, but yeah, technically ADD, dyslexia were two things that I
Uh-huh.
was kind of tagged with. So I think the dyslexia leans itself to an abstract ability and to be able to wrap yourself around kind of things that aren't necessarily straightforward or cookie cutter,
Yes.
which works
Yes.
really well in this
Yeah.
industry. And then the ADD thing, you're just sensitive to your environment, you know, and
Mhm.
you're definitely, you know, sitting in a class where everything's supposed to be like a little factory wasn't always the best fit, but I can walk into a room and just take the temperature like that, you
Yeah.
know. Um, yeah, I could see. I've heard that before, the hunter sheen kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great book. It really is. It kind of opened my eyes
Yeah.
to uh, and two, I think you learn to adapt.
Hmm.
I know what works for me, and
Yep.
the one thing that I do every day is make a to-do list so
Well,
that I know, and I make it at night before I go to bed so
that's
that
so
I
funny you say
know
that.
the next day exactly what my priorities are. Here it is, right here, and it's still paper.
I've noticed I have this little sales journal thing, and if I
Yes,
plot out my day, you know,
uh-huh,
block my time to make some calls, I am so much more productive. If I
exactly.
don't do it, I'm okay, but get reactive, you get stuck for a little bit, but that's
Yep,
a great point.
yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just, and I don't, I love Excel spreadsheets for,
Hmm.
organizing. Like I do a lot of writing for other people. So I have to have a spreadsheet that says what my version is, if it's in editing,
Hmm.
where it is, has it gone to the client, but just paper for my, for my to-do list.
So maybe to kind of, you know, wrap it up on the kind of alternatives and ways you can kind of contribute and build the industry. So when you say writing for other people, is it like risk management documents or is it
It can
guides?
be blog posts. It
Oh,
can
wow.
be. I'm doing a lot of not design, website pages for an
Cool.
Australian brokerage, which they speak a different language. I just want
That's
to
funny.
tell you,
I can see that.
but they're awesome. They're very, very friendly, and a lot of white papers, really
Okay,
in-depth white papers. I've done some on cat modeling, those types of things.
cool.
So just
Yeah.
whatever needs to be written, and I've been doing that for a number of years.
So people will have information, they'll have an idea, they'll be
Mhm.
passionate about subject, or maybe it's the core of their business. They'll say, "Hey Nancy, could you put this together for me in a way to help me communicate to my clients?" You
Right, a
know.
case study, for example, or a
Cool.
brochure. Those are the types of things that I do the writing because I understand the end user.
Yeah.
As an insurance client, my husband runs a contracting company, so we buy a lot of insurance as a buyer, as a risk manager, and two, as a claims practitioner for many years. I
Cool.
kind of really get the industry, so I serve a lot of third-party administrators,
Yeah.
people who service the industry, and
That's
and some
interesting.
agents and brokers.
So you kind of take the weeded speak and sort of bring it out to everybody else. It sounds like that's
Right,
awesome.
right.
Well, I'll make sure to include all your contact info in there, and I'm glad we got a chance to
Great.
chat.
Me
And
too.
yeah, thank you for all the kindness and openness to the industry stuff on, you know, InsurTech Twitter, which is surprisingly busy and fun, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I really appreciate it, and I wrote about brain drain in the industry about
Huh,
10 years ago, and kept saying we have problems attracting people into
interesting.
the industry. So seeing my students and seeing the insurance nerds, I think the
Cool.
future's in good hands.
I'll invite you to the Slack, no worries, busy
Okay.
on it or not. But yeah, we really appreciate it. And there's some good people trying to build the industry up. And I think we'll have some fun. I think the difference will be before it was kind of a main street activity. And I think now through this, you know, we're going to stretch out a little bit. You're going to be able to affect the industry a little bit more broadly. But I still think, yeah, you need those frontline underwriters. You need those boots on the ground too. But
You do.
I appreciate the kind words about the future of our, our little tribe.
It's in good hands with people like you, Brett.
Cool. I appreciate it. So we'll talk soon.
Thanks. Bye.